years and counting. This is Okanagan Sun football with Ryan Waters.
The Sun just keep on winning, and the defense continues to throw up zeros. For the third consecutive game, the Sun defense pitched a shutout last week against Chilliwack, and for the fourth straight game against the Huskers, not a point was allowed. During the game, the Sun tied a CJFL record for 3 interceptions returned for touchdowns, a record that was set in 1951. The Sun remain in top spot in the BCFC with a 6-1 record as they prepare for their Week 8 opponent in the South Surrey Rams. Head coach Pete McCall says the Sun aren't quite where they need to be after their win over Chilliwack.
Well, we're pleased with the win, but there's still some things that need to be worked on offense and defensively. We bended, but we didn't break. But we did let them, march on us a few times. So there's some things that need to tighten up a little bit. But overall, it's hard to complain when you win 48-0.
Well, I don't want to sound like a broken record. You mentioned defense was good, but I think they've been simply great the last few games. Is this team built on defense, do you think?
Yeah, well, being a former defensive player myself, is the old cliche, defense championships, and we've got that caliber of defense. Last weekend was a good example. They scored 3 touchdowns on their own, and basically 3 shutouts in a row if you exclude the touchdown off an offensive play there. They're a championship caliber defense, and we want our offense on there to put some points up, but we're confident that our defense can keep points off the board.
You talk about those 3 touchdowns that the defense scored on interceptions, which tied a CJFL record from the 1950s. How proud does that make you?
Oh, super proud. Especially with Hayden Bell, one of our defensive backs in the hospital. We knew they were playing for them, and you sure saw it. In those returns for touchdowns there, those kids had fire in them. And they weren't going to be denied, and so and again, I'm a former DB, so anytime you see the DBs in the end zone with the football, it's a proud day for sure.
Well, with the victory, you clinch a playoff spot. You're second in as many years. Does it feel any different this year? Well,
I'd be lying if I didn't say it was. We're in a better situation than we were last year.
Mm-hmm.
We more than likely we're going to host throughout. I think we'll get the semi anyways, and then again we're in control of our destiny to get that final in the Apple Bowl too, and that's what everybody wants, I think.
Well, from here on in, you play teams fighting for their playoff lives. Has the attitude in practice been a little bit more intense this week, heading up to a game against the Rams?
No doubt about it. These teams that we're playing are, scrappy teams that are, still in the playoff hunt themselves, and, they got nothing to lose and everything to gain by knocking off the first place team. So, we've got to be prepared for the best, and, again, I think we are in control of our destiny, and we've got the bodies and the athletes to make it happen, so it's just a matter of going out there and getting it done.
You feel the Rams might come out flying after their loss to Kamloops last weekend?
There's probably some tongue lashing going on there this week from their coaching staff, and I'm sure that it was a reality check for them. And here they go against the Okanagan Sun. We handed them a pretty good beating there the first time we played them, so I'm sure that they've improved from then, and they're going to want some payback.
What's the key this week?
Offense. We just want to use our personnel better and get that offense driving. And help make that system work for Bobby a little bit more, and make him feel more comfortable in there. And it's the same old story. You got to execute on offense, and then on defense, everybody's just got to do their job and keep points off the board like they have been.
One of the 3 interceptions returned for touchdowns on Sunday was a 61-yard scamper by veteran Daylon Pommier, who takes us through his pick 6.
After you get a hold of the football, it's pretty much just a blur, I'd like to think. I try to look back on it, and I remember seeing a couple blocks. I think Ryan Keating, Tyler Plock definitely picked up a couple guys, and I realized when I had the ball, I could make it to the end zone, and that's all I tried to do, is just run until you can't run no more.
You don't get there very often. How'd it feel?
It felt great. I think the last time I made it to the end zone was in grade 12. I took a punt to the house.
Grade 12.
And it's been a long time and definitely shook some cobwebs off, but it felt great. I mean, it's definitely something I'll remember for the rest of my life, but that's done and over with now. It's time to move on to Surrey.
Well, I want to talk to you about this defense as a whole. It hasn't been scored on in 3 games. How are you keeping this defense on track?
Just, I could say really it's due to our coaching staff. I mean, Jason Casey, Jamie Klassen, and Rob Heron, all are, and Mike Godwin too. He comes in at halftime and really tells us what's going on. But it's our coaching staff that keeps us in check. And I know that we have a pretty fierce D-line. I think I'd personally like to think the in the league, and they do a lot for us. I mean, they really swarm that quarterback, and they rush him when he's got to throw. So I mean, I think if you look, there's a lot of incompletions too by teams we're playing against, just because those guys are just trying to get the ball out of their hands before they get creamed. Mm-hmm. But it's just what you got to do. Defense is the heart of our team, I like to think, and it's really holding its own this year.
You mentioned you got the Rams coming up this weekend. The games starting this weekend get a little bit more difficult the next 3 weeks. Is this team more focused heading into Surrey?
Yes, sir. I definitely think so. We played Surrey second game of the year, and we had a nice outcome. And that outcome was solely due to preparation. Mm-hmm. Preparation through the week, in the film room and on the field, chalk talk and all. We knew what Surrey was doing before they knew what they were doing. And it's going to be like that again, hopefully this weekend and for the rest of the weekend. The game is, I'd say, 50% physical, and the other 50 is mental. And really, the team, whoever is mentally in tune that day, is going to win. And this week against Surrey, we're going to, like we did. I just got out of a film session now. It's all about preparation. And once you know what your opponent's doing, you're on it.
Well, as a defense, hasn't given up a point now in the last 3 games. Do you really need to work on anything, or is it just mental preparation?
For sure, you can never slack off or get complacent. I know that if we don't do what we've been doing all year, you're going to start sliding. You got to make sure that you wrap up. You got to make sure that you pursue to the ball, and make sure that you practice all those fundamental little things that are pounded into our skull every day by our head coach and our coaching staff in general. They've really been on us, just focus on the day, the task at hand, and just go with it. I mean, when we show up to practice, we know that we just got to sell your soul for 2 hours there and give her all you got, and things will be taken care of. And that's, so far, they've been right.
The Sun will now head to Surrey to take on the 3-4 Rams on Sunday, who are coming off a disappointing loss in Kamloops during an extremely windy night. The Rams are banged up at all positions, as head coach Chris Buchler says the weather turned out to be a factor at Hillside Stadium on Saturday night.
2 of the quarters it was harder to throw, but they played a great game. They deserve all the credit. They shut us down. We didn't play well. That's not true. They played really, really well.
Do you go back to the drawing board for this week, or do you just brush off the loss and just prepare for this weekend?
Brush off the loss, prepare for another weekend.
Mm-hmm. You look at your opponent this weekend, the Okanagan Sun. When you watch film, do you see any areas that you can exploit?
Nope, they're pretty solid all the way around, and them and the 9 were 1-2 for a reason, and you just hope you get a break or two against them, because they're a pretty talented group of guys.
Well, what's the key for your team this weekend?
Maybe be a little more focused than we were last weekend. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of issues during the week, and then they ended up happening again on Saturday. So we'll see. Hopefully we play better.
The Sun and Rams will kick off at 3 p.m. on Sunday in a rematch of Week 2, when the Sun recorded a 30-3 victory at the Apple Bowl. Catch the play-by-play live on the official home of the Sun, AM 1150. Until next time, I'm Ryan Waters.